So I'm going to give you 5 players that I think can 10x in the natural graphite space. If you don't know why we need natural graphite and it's going to be in big demand in the future, probably do some research, but just some rough figures here. Where are we? Like, it's going to go into short supply, and when that happens, instead of getting it out of the ground for $500 and sell it for $1,000, you can get it out of the ground for $500 and sell it for $5,000 and do millions of tons each year, meaning you're making millions of dollars. Meaning you could build the mine for $100 million and then make $200 million a year. So it sort of becomes a no-brainer, and I believe this could happen in the graphite space. And this is why a lot of these projects that no one likes now, we don't need the graphite now, so no one loves these companies. Fast forward to around this time, could be a different story. So if you buy them now or sometime in between, you could be sitting on something. So you don't know which ones, you have a fair idea like which ones are going to be the good ones, but for unknown reasons, one just grew up. So my plan is to buy into a few of them under the 50 to 100 million that have a high chance to get it in production, better than the rest, and buy in. And if one doesn't make it, the other one 5x's, it pays for that one loss, and they all make it, that's good. So what are these companies that I like? Take in mind they're in the, so I'm not talking about anything over 100 million. International Graphite is one of them. So they've got pretty good grade here. Average grade is around 7. High grade is about 30. So they got high grade. Some have high grade components, and all of them have tonnage, and they can just increase the tonnage by more drilling because there's lots more graphite out there. They just have to drill for it. So this is a good one. I think they're at $50 million. $50 million. So where are we? Back to here. And also they got the downstream. So you get out of the ground, then you have to mill it. 2 tons out of the ground becomes 1 ton of spiralized graphite. So this company just brought out a thing saying they spiralize it successfully. Then they coat it. Then it goes into the anode. So you get out of the ground for $500 a ton. So you need 2 tons, so it's $1,000 stuff out of the ground. Makes 1 ton of the other stuff. Then you can sell for about $3,000. Then you spend a bit more money on coating it. Maybe you spend $1,000 more coating it, and then you can sell for like $8,000. But that $8,000 there works out to be only I'm probably losing here, but $1,000 for your Tesla. So easy to say, if it's only $1,000 for the graphite in your Tesla, you could go to like $5,000. That's not huge, but they're paying that much for lithium. So that $8,000 could like 3x and could be $30,000 for a ton, meaning about $3,000 for the stuff in your Tesla. So that's why all these companies could grow once there's a shortfall. They're making $100 million a year now. They'll be making $300 million a year now. And they don't even have to do it. It just has to say that they'll do it. And people will buy in. Some can do it, and some will just have to be doing it soon, if you get the point. So International Graphite, that's one I like. $50 million. They could be making $100 million a year after spending about 100 to 200 million getting the process up and going. So to do the mine might be 100 to 200 million, and then the downstream cost may be about the same. Not really sure on the downstream, but if you're just getting out of the ground, you can sell it to someone maybe. Do your own research. It's basically, don't ask me everything. So another one, ID6, it's one on my list. Another one is SGA on the ASX. So this huge grade, no one else has this grade. Just them. Well, there's Telga and there's them, top of the grade list here. Grade, so look at all. Telga's at the top, and then we got SGA. It isn't inferred, so they do have to drill it more. Inferred means they've drilled it a few times. Indicated means they've drilled it like 5 times in different directions, saying, yep, it's definitely there. So, huge grade, huge resource. It's in Kazakhstan, and what I learned about Kazakhstan, they earn this much per month. Australian dollars, $200 a month Australian, so there could be a low OPEX there. Also, if you look at the photos, it looks like they're on this flat land, not some tree land like in Canada. So it could be cheap. They're between China and Europe. So get out of the ground $500, sell it to China, sell it to Europe for maybe $3,000 in the future. Do 100,000 tons a year, or do even more because they got a lot of tons, and be on your merry way. So buy it now. I think it's selling now for $30 million. I'm pretty sure they got about $8 million in cash. So fast forward, they spend $200 million to the mine. Who pays for that? Well, Tesla says, oh, we need more graphite, we'll do a deal with you. They give them the money, they build it out. And if they sold most of the thing to Tesla to get the mine built, they're still making quite a bit. So that 30 million, I could easily see this be worth $500 million, $2 billion. It's like the biggest resource there is around the world. So good chance this company could 10x, 20x, especially when that graphite demand kicks in. Yeah, you can't feel the cold when it's in summer. You can't believe how cold it is in winter. Well, guess what? When that graphite comes around, right now you can't believe it's going to be that high, but I believe it will be that high. So what else can we say about this? This guy, he owns 40% of it or something. Yep, because he set it up. So he said, oh, sell it off, get some cash, move this thing forward. They need to do more drilling, bit more work. So get out of the ground, and they need to find out, can we get this to 99.5%, and what's the best way to do it? So here we are, they got bitumen road, so pretty good area, 2 kilometers from high voltage power lines. Well, that saves the diesel generation, and they can have solar, etc. So you want to look at that as well. So all new. LFP is one of the future. So graphite, silicon would be better, but it's just not working. They can't get silicon to work at high volume, so we're using graphite for now, and they'll add a bit of silicon as they can move forward the technology. So we're getting away. Remember, if it's expensive, we're going to get rid of it. Like nickel, no one wants to use nickel anymore. We'll just use lithium iron phosphate. Okay, everyone knows there's going to be a big demand for graphite unless they can find another technology for batteries, but that won't happen, in my opinion. So pricing, still going up slightly, and I believe this will go quite a bit more when they start to run low on it. So graphite, they were using graphite for other things. Lithium, wasn't much other use for lithium, so when we need it for the battery, there was a big uptick in price. Graphite might be a bit slower to see the uptick, as there was a bit around beforehand. And who knows, it could even be like next 6 months something shoots up. China goes into winter, they can't process the thing because they're not allowed to use the power because they need the power to heat the homes. So they can't turn on the things to make the graphite, so that's when there could be a short supply as well. So you didn't know China goes into winter, and many people can't make stuff because there's not enough electricity to go around. And open for rebuttal if you don't believe me. So here's another one, Mason Graphite, about $40 million. $40 million Canadian, low OPEX, under $200 million to build the mine, and they're selling 50% to Nouvellement Graphite, who's going to help them get the project into thing. So yeah, they're selling off half the project, but the person is assisting in getting to production. So less risk, less reward, and they are here. Heaps of tonnage there. So going to do 250,000 tons a year in the new scoping study. So 250,000 times 3 grand in each ton, 750 million. Like, that's a rough figure, but they do half that, 250 million. It's going to be worth a lot more than the 40 million you buy it for now. So that's a good one. Mason Graphite. So I'll start closing these down off the list. Mason Graphite, have a look. Can't buy it in the ASX, it's on the TSX. But definitely one I see there's a high probability in getting to production. Look, 28, almost 30% for the first 25 years. So low OPEX there, less digging for, say there's only 2% grade in your thing. These guys have 30%, they're getting well more than you for less effort. So as I said, Kazakhstan's cheap, that's for SGA. IG6 a good one. Probably going to get grants from the US and Australian government, so Australian government, to push them along. They already are getting grants, and they're making the spheronized graphite. So the downstream as well, meaning they'll make more money. So which other ones did I like? There's BEM and there's VRC on the ASX. So VRC, Vault Resources, around 100 million. Never look at Google for the thing. It's actually around 100 million. Some other ones will say it's only 10 million market cap on here, and then really there are 30 million market cap. So you've just thrown it out the window. Okay, so these guys, they got a working mine in Ukraine, it's going to make 9,000 tons this year, meaning $9 million of money coming in. They own 70% of it, so a bit of money coming in. For that $100 million you pay, you already get money coming in. And the capacity for this one here is 30,000 per annum, so that could be $30 million coming in. Obviously already set up, so they don't have to pay any costs. It's already set up, etc. And so when the graphite boom comes in, they can meet it with this mine, and then they got the bigger mine in Banyu, which is in Tanzania. So let's look at the figures on this. So you buy VRC for $100 million. They only got $2 million cash. Sweet old cash, really. They got more cash coming in for the little Ukrainian mine. And then for this one, they got a first stage project and a second stage project. So a lot of these companies, they start off doing a small bit of tonnage per year, like 23,000 tons per annum. And then they use that money to get better terms when they have to finance the bigger one. So they make a little bit of money, say, look, bank, we're making money on this one, paying it back easy. It's a working business. The bank says, okay, we'll give you 10%. Or they get favorable terms loaning the money. So they spend $100 million on EBITDA. Where's the CapEx on this first stage? CapEx, nope, can't find it. Capital. Anyway, we'll go to the big, so this take in mind, you can look at these figures later. Stage 1 feasibility, pre-feasibility. So in the big one, they're spending $173 million American. They got to look for the best way to raise that money to not dilute the company so much. And from that money, they're going to be making an EBITDA of $195 million per year. So that's before interest, tax, depreciation. So tax comes in, depreciation, obviously the trucks in the mine, like depreciating value, etc. The mining equipment depreciates, but you maybe half that and you got the profit. And take in mind, if graphite, this price equals about $1,000 for the graphite in Tesla. So that could 3x and that could 3x if there's a shortfall. I don't know. But if that happens, you're not going to get this company for $100 million. It's probably going to be 5 times as much in price. So anyway, you spend that much and then you get this much per year for 22 years. Take in mind also, this CapEx, it could blow out and cost double. So that's a reason that you got to be careful as well. They're not just going to print money. It's not all uphill, but it could be for some companies. Other times it might not be. You don't know. And that's the game. So EBITDA, that's for 22 years. And they got downstream as well. So this is just getting it out of the ground. Numbers for getting out of the ground. That's going to get shipped to their place in America, where they're going to grind it up and make it into stuff that goes in batteries, where they can make more money. And they've got plans to do that. So that's another good one. You pay $100 million for these guys because they've already got a working mine. And probably a good project here. They also have the lithium one, but it's in Serbia. And not good because Rio Tinto was in Serbia. And they've been trying to get the lithium thing for 20 years to go. Never happened. So the price tag isn't for that lithium mine. It's just for the graphite side, in my opinion. So recap, we got Vault Resources, VRC on the ASX. Saratoga is a good one. Honorable mention, BEM on the ASX. Same deal, they got a big tonnage. Spend $100 million, $200 million in Africa. Make that per year. They do a small scale thing first, and then they increase to the big scale as demand requires. So only about $30 million, about $10 million cash or something. And a bit more risky, but very high reward, this one. And even if it doesn't get production, people might just go nuts and pay money for this. $3 million. They've done about $10 million in drilling. And they've got a 10-year mine life. Could go to 20 years. They've got hydroelectricity. This is on the TSXV. And this is a little example of what happens. Like, look, something happened with graphite around here. And these companies go nuts. 4x, so from 4 cents, that's a 10x just for not even near production. Probably, yeah, so quite low, and that could just jump up. You want to have a gamble, something that, I don't know, could get into production, but lower percentage chance, I'd say. only 4 cents, and if you look, it goes up 12 cents when it just changes a little bit. So more high risk, high reward, but it is a real company. They're drilling it out of the ground. They're right next to Mason Graphite, so they've got really high grade, apparently larger flake size than Mason Graphite as well. Hydroelectricity, so more drilling. So a bit more uphill battle for this company, but huge reward if they succeed. This could literally be in 100x if it did. So that's it from me. Any more companies you see? Like a viewer told me about this company, didn't know. So this huge resource just came out of nowhere. So there's probably other companies around I don't know of, so let me know if you know of them. And see you in the next video. I was editing the video, but I did spend a lot of time editing the video, and it didn't get any more views than the last one. So I've just gone back to this screen stage, and hopefully most of my viewers just want to get tips, ideas, or a board. So that's it from me. Let's go through this one. Trident Minerals is another one. They actually had this big mine here. It got taken off them, so that's why you wouldn't put all your mine to one company, because lease expires. Nope, we're not giving that mine back. We're gonna lease it to somebody else. So down goes Trident Minerals. They got the small one here. So yes, that's all I'll say, and have a good weekend. And remember, this is graphite. There's lithium iron phosphate, so maybe the phosphate market has some players in there. Have a Nero, or there's nickel, or there's anything that goes into a battery. It's going to be increasing demand. Lithium's probably already had its run, but there could be some good players in lithium. If you can get into production lithium in around 10 million, you're gonna 20x. Might just go for GL1. So GL1, probably the next one's gonna get into production. This is why I like to buy low. These were at $40 million. They were right next to the biggest hard rock lithium mines in Australia. I thought, well, they have a chance. And then CATL buys into them. Min Resources buy into them. So pretty good chance these guys are going to get into production, which will probably mean a $2 billion price tag. So even more X's. I bought them at 40 million market cap. They've gone to here. And it doesn't look like lithium ion batteries go anywhere. It doesn't look like anyone else is going to get at the ground faster than these guys will. So they could be potential in production next 3 years. So even more growth here, even though less reward as you're buying higher. So that's it from me, and have a great weekend.